The Pokémon World Championships is easily the biggest and most prestigious tournament of the entire competitive Pokémon circuit. Every year in August, the absolute best of the best players from around the world gather to fight for the elusive crown of World Champion, a feat that only a very small number of players have ever managed to achieve. It is the only tournament that you have to qualify for in order to enter, and even if you somehow manage to accomplish that, the odds of you winning the whole thing are slim to none. Winning Worlds is an achievement that so many players across the globe dream of, yet will never see fulfilled for themselves in their entire lifetimes. It is a brutal climb to the very top, but the very few who do make it are sure to go down in VGC history as some of the very best players that there ever was. Now, as for me personally, what are you, insane? I am atrocious at this game. I only care about the funny background details that no one else even notices are there. See? Look, it's glowing! Something that I think is really cool about the VGC World Championships is that they all use a unique battle background for tournament sets for at least a part of the tournament, although usually only for grand final sets. Battles that take place at Worlds are the only times where you can actually access these unique features in-game without hacking them in, which is mostly why I found them to be so interesting. So, since Worlds 2025 is fast approaching as of me writing this, I wanted to take a look at these special battle arenas and catalog what about them makes them unique. All of the information in this video is either something that I found off of Bulbapedia, or something that I just noticed while looking at footage of live stream/video recordings of these events. So if there's anything that you think is worthy of mentioning that I missed, let me know in the comments, since I genuinely love hearing about this stuff. Alright, insanely long intro over. Let's go all the way back to 2008 then, shall we? And the first few Pokémon World Championships have very little in terms of unique features exclusive to battles that take place here, although there are still a couple noteworthy details. We start with the Pokémon Video Game Showdown 2008, a tournament that predates the name VGC, but is still often considered to be the first ever VGC World Championships. Their matches were played inside of Pokémon Battle Revolution, a game that I have never actually played. I apologize in advance to all of the pushing 30-year-olds that I am about to make feel ancient, but the reason that I've never played this game is because it came out when I was still fresh out the womb. In any case, according to Bulbapedia, the semifinals and finals matches for this event used Sunset Coliseum, a coliseum that is accessible in the main game with no changes noted. Yeah, this one isn't nearly as interesting as the others, but wait, there's still something cool here. Stay with me for a moment. The battles that took place here actually have a unique battle track that, from what I could find, isn't used anywhere else in the entire game. It's an orchestral remix of Cyrus's battle theme for Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. I did a little bit of digging, albeit not that much, and I wasn't able to find a clean rip of the song anywhere on YouTube. The only thing that I did end up finding was recorded footage of the Seniors Finals game, where you could faintly hear the music playing in the background. To my knowledge, the song isn't anywhere else on YouTube, so please, if anyone has a clean rip of the song, let me know in the comments. Bulbapedia does say that the version of the game used for the tournament is a special build of the game with the song included, so there's a very good chance that it's just not in the normal game at all. It was made only for this tournament. Would that technically make this lost media then? I mean, you can still hear the song in the footage I just showed you, so maybe not? I don't know. Either way, this is something that I didn't know about until very recently, and I think it's super interesting. Worlds 2009 was also played in Battle Revolution, but there are even fewer interesting details here than in 2008. The semifinals and finals where you play using the Waterfall Coliseum as a background, which is also not a Worlds exclusive arena. Huh. And the background music is also way less interesting, but still kinda cool, I guess. They use Mysterial's battle theme, usually only able to be heard within the Stargazer Coliseum. This seems like it was the only time when the song was used outside of that Coliseum, and while it's not nearly as interesting as the previous year's music, it's still kinda cool, I guess. There is one more unique detail about these battles, though. The player characters used for these battles, instead of just using the regular Battle Revolution player characters, were actually Dawn and Lucas in their Pokemon Platinum outfits. These were apparently made specifically for the build of the game that the tournament used, and are completely absent from the game's retail release. Okay, cool, that was all only kind of interesting, let's move on now. VGC 2010 has nothing unique listed for it, so we're just going to skip right over to Gen 5. Pokemon Black and White had a special battle arena used for regionals and national tournaments as well as Worlds, and it couldn't be accessed normally in-game outside of a few mystery gift events. Unfortunately, however, this background is lame as hell. The background is solid white, transforming into a blue gradient towards the bottom, with the spots for the Pokemon stand on being a similar bluish-green color. Come on, man, couldn't they have done anything more interesting than just copying Sonic Generations? Oh boy, this really intense battle at this major tournament is about to begin. Where is it taking place? Inside of an empty white void with absolutely nothing going on. Thanks, Game Freak. While the background is very underwhelming, the music used for the finals at Worlds is anything but. For every other match that used this background, the music would just be locked to the normal trainer music from the base game. But for Worlds Finals, a special remix of Champion Blue's theme from Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow would play. And it's a really good remix. It's actually the song that I'm using as the background music for this section of the video. This song can actually be found on YouTube this time, thank you, and also in the game itself technically through those mystery gift events that I mentioned earlier, where you could fight NPC trainers that use the teams that several world finalists use in the tournament. Wolf, Glick, and Ray Rizzo are officially in a Pokemon game. You know what, sure thing man, whatever. Alright, there's nothing else interesting in Gen 5, let's move on, this is a quick section. Generation 6 is when these arenas finally start getting interesting again. Not that they were all that interesting before, but you know, still. Worlds 2014 used an arena that's structurally identical to the one used for regular PvP games in Pokemon X and Y, but the entire arena's color has changed to this really cool rainbow gradient that constantly changes color throughout the match. Even the in-game audience changes color as well, which I think is a really cool detail. Although it's hard to see, on the arena's ceiling, you can also sometimes spot a giant globe that constantly spins around throughout the whole match like it's an observatory of some sort. I really wish that this was more visible during the game, since I think that detail in particular is really cool. I think it really helps tie together the whole world team that they're going for, since, you know, it's the World Championships. Duh. Just ignore the fact that the game probably can let you count how many pixels Australia has been made up with in real life this whole time, and this is a really neat detail that I like a lot, even if the map is just a bit blurry. The arena is also pretty unique among a lot of the other ones because it was only used for Worlds 2014. Usually going forward, these arenas will be used throughout the entire generation, without any of them being ditched for a new one. But this one is one of the few exceptions to that, because the next year, in 2015, the arena would change again, and this new one would also be used for 2016. I'll get into the second arena in a bit, but I find it interesting that they just decided to ditch the one from 2014 for forever. I understand why they did it, but it still just feels a little odd to me. Regardless, despite how much I enjoyed this arena's visuals, my personal favorite part about this arena by far actually has nothing to do with how the arena looks. Remember how in Pokemon Black and White during World Finals, an exclusive remix of the Gen 1 Champion Battle theme was used as background music? Well, here in Gen 6, they made another remix of the same song, also for World Finals. And you know what? I think it's better if I just let you take a listen to it for yourself. The intro to this song sends shivers down my spine every time I listen to it. It is so damn good. The whole thing just feels so climactic in a way that no other official version of the song does for me. It feels more intense than ever, like you're about to witness history in the making. Or what you kind of are, which, yeah, that makes more sense then. The version of the song from Black and White is very similar to this one, although Gen 6 being able to use actual orchestral instruments instead of just the regular Nintendo DS sound fonts does wonders for this version. This song is literally the entire reason I wanted to make this video in the first place, just so I have an excuse to rave about how much I adore this song. And thank God, the song is actually available on YouTube so I can listen to it. This song would also be used for every World's Finals set in every mainline Pokemon game on the 3DS, and while I think it would have been cool if Pokemon Sun and Moon got their own unique remix as well, I'm glad it was this song that got reused. The following 2 years, in 2015 and 2016, VGC was played in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire instead of X and Y, and with the game change comes a new Worlds arena as well. Rather than keep with the rainbows in X and Y's arena, Oris's unique arena sticks to being prominently one color, that being blue. The arena has a lot more spotlights surrounding it than in X and Y's, and you can also actually still see a little bit of a similar sort of rainbow gradient on the walls beneath where the audience is sitting, although it's way more subtle now and doesn't change colors like in X and Y. There are also these little streaks of multicolored lights that you can see when both players are sending out their Pokemon at the very start of the battle, and I don't think that they ever show up again for the rest of the battle. Multiple Jumbotrons can be seen behind both players rather than just the usual one Jumbotron per side of the field, and these Jumbotrons actually display crowns on them. In between the Jumbotrons is also another spinning globe hologram, with one on either side of the field. The entire arena is also very different in structure compared to the normal PvP arena, which I think makes this arena even more unique, since it's the only one in Gen 6 that's like this. On top of that, this arena was also only used for the World's Finals matches, unlike X and Y's arena, which is used for every battle of the tournament. So I actually only noticed this while writing the script, but I'm pretty sure that the reason for that is because Oris has another unique Worlds arena for every other match of the tournament. This one is far less interesting, however. It's just a slightly different color than the normal PvP arena, plus it has that spinning globe ceiling from the 2014 arena, and with no other significant changes. Man, why is this way more of a complicated subject than I thought it was going to be? Pokemon Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon only have one arena this time that was used for World's Finals, and only World's Finals. The music used in the finals is identical to the music used in Generation 6, so nothing to comment on there. The arena also has a lot of extra little details in it this time around. The arena is mostly pinkish purple this time, and has a lot more spotlights covering it than the previous arena. Immediately, you can notice another spinning globe that these arenas love to use beneath the translucent floor. I really like this change personally, since now you don't have to wait for someone to Mega Evolve one of their Pokemon just to see the spinning globe. It's just there at all times now. The giant Jumbotrons behind each trainer return, only now there's only one each like in the normal PvP arena. They both display a crown with a Pokeball symbol on it this time, in exchange for being a light blue color rather than gold. Just above each Jumbotron is another spinning globe, visible for a split second while the players are sending out their lead Pokemon, or sometimes when the camera decides to pan over to them while the players are selecting their moves. On both the left and right sides of the arena, you can also see these holograms of banners with the same crown symbol on it, although these are only visible when the camera pans over to them. This is a really nicely detailed arena overall, with a lot more to spot than in previous games. If only you could actually see them. Never mind the camera not letting you see a lot of the background most of the time, which is an entire tangent I could go off of, but I'm willing to spare you from that. Because the Tapus were all so common on VGC teams in Generation 7 that a lot of the time you wouldn't even be able to see the actual battlefield. All 4 Tapus, well, 3 of them at least, are all infamous for their abilities that let them set up terrains on switch-in, and in the 3DS games, these terrains obscured the entire battlefield whenever they were set up. So you might sometimes see the actual battle background, maybe even occasionally a solid green if Tapu Bulu was in the match. But 90% of the time, the background would just be either one of 2 solid shades of pink or bright yellow. Wait a minute. Pink and yellow? No. No, it can't be. No. Sorry about that, I was just relapsed for a second there, my bad. Where was I? Right, I was talking about Worlds. So during most of the Masters Finals at Worlds 2017, you couldn't even see the battlefield because both players had at least one Tapu. Ryota Otsubo even actually had 2 whole Tapus on his team. Wait a minute, hang on. Oh, god damn it. During Pokemon Sword and Shield's lifetime, there was only a singular World Championships held in 2022. All in-person VGC events were actually cancelled in both 2020 and 2021 because, I wonder what else happened in 2020. This makes the Worlds 22 arena the only other Worlds exclusive arena besides the one from 2014 to only be used once. But I mean, I guess there's also Battle Revolution, but who really counts that? The difference is this time is that the one in Sword and Shield wasn't originally meant to be a one and done. Anyways, despite that, Worlds 22 used the same arena for every single match of the tournament like in 2014, only this time the arena is the least interesting one that we've had since Black and White. It is a special version of Winden Stadium, the stadium where you fight the Pokemon League in the game's main story that could also be randomly selected as an arena in PvP matches. So if that's the case, then what's special about it? Well, the one using Worlds is an altered version of it. The Jumbotrons in the background all display a Pokeball at all times, and then the long screen beneath the audience also has this gradient that constantly changes between the colors red and white to match the Pokeball. The advertising boards below the audience also have the World Championships logo on it as well, which I'm surprised it took them this long for them to add this logo somewhere to one of these. 4 whole generations of VGC, and only now you include the Worlds logo in-game on a Worlds exclusive arena. Would it have just made the 3DS, I don't know, explode on the spot if you added it? What the hell's going on here? Not like this is a big deal at all, it's just weird to me. Alright, what else is here? The audience members in the background are holding red and white banners to match the Pokeball colors. I guess the diagonal lines at the bottom of the advertising boards are also red and white? That's, like, it. Oh yeah, and then the music for finals was locked to Champion Leon's battle theme from the main game. No exclusive battle music tracks this time, and spoiler alert, they haven't used a single World's exclusive battle song in either of the Nintendo Switch games. Also, what happened to the Spinning Glow, my beloved? Is he okay? Well, apparently it's on the battle intro cutscene when first loading into a match of the tournament when displaying both players' lead cards. I couldn't find any footage of this myself, but I'm sure it's probably out there somewhere. Someone could probably dig it up in the game files or something. I don't really want to bother hunting for this footage to be real with you. God, why did I think this video was a good idea? Alright then, with how little there was in Sword and Shield, maybe Scarlet and Violet can up the ante a bit. They still use another pre-existing battle arena that can be used in regular PvP as a base, although it has a ton of extra details added to them for Worlds. I can safely say that this is a massive upgrade over Sword and Shield Arena. The immediately most notable change is the giant crowd of students that was added in the back of spectators, far more than there are normally. I think what's supposed to be happening here from what I've heard is that in-universe, the World Championships is this massive school event, which is why all the students are here suddenly surrounding the battle. And they are all even less animated than the normal NPC spectators because we are in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the games that will crash if you so much as gently breathe on your Switch incorrectly. The crowd is a cool detail, but yikes, it looks rough up close. Other than that, the arena has also been covered up in all sorts of different festival decorations. Behind each player are these little Pokeball arch decorations things that I don't really know what to call. They look kind of like Christmas wreaths, so I guess I'll just call them wreaths for now. One of them is colored Scarlet and the other Violet, and I can only imagine why that could be. There are also a bunch of extra tents set up around the arena, as well as a few extra banners of spotlights attached to them. In between the aforementioned spotlights are also these ball things that I also don't know the name of that are being hung up by a string attached to 2 spotlights each. In the background, you can also see even more banners on the walls with text on them that I'm pretty sure is in Pokemon's in-universe made-up language. On the off chance that I'm actually wrong about this and this is actually a real language, I apologize for that, and if you could correct me in the comments on what language that is, I would really appreciate that. The in-game time of day is also locked to nighttime, and fireworks are constantly being set off in the sky. Most of these details are all unfortunately hard to see since the camera is panned away for most of the time, but I still super appreciate all of the attention to detail that they added here. The music here is also reused from the base game, this time being Champion Nemona's theme, aka the song that plays during the final fight against Nemona in the base game after beating the Pokemon League. Funny story though, during Masters Finals at Worlds 2023, Michael Kelch had his in-game music turned off so he could focus on playing better. But because his Switch was the one being recorded for the stream, the entire set had absolutely zero music for both games that were played from the perspective of the viewer.
Able to dish out some damage, but a little different approach to the Dragapult than we saw in the North American National Championships, right? Just a bunch of Phantom Force there.
And to top it all off, Michael still only got second place despite it all. If you know anything about what happened at this tournament, it was one hell of a roller coaster, good god. And yeah, that's all the arenas up to this point. And in case you're wondering, no, I do not know how I got a 10+ minute video out of this topic either. If there are any other weird niche Pokemon related topics like this that you want me to talk about, I'm open to any suggestions in the comment section. And while you're at it, if you could also like the video and subscribe to the channel, that would really help me out a ton since my channel size is currently microscopic at the moment. And I'm sure that what YouTube is currently planning on doing to the platform very soon is certainly not going to help me out in the slightest. If you're interested, there should also be another video on screen right now that you can click on, assuming I can get it to work, about some of the best Pokemon in VGC and why they're so strong to begin with for you to watch. Alright, that's all I got for now. Bye!